What's going on, everybody? Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us for anything and everything rock and roll. Of course, with a little bit of ADD. I'm Zach.
I'm TJ.
And I'm Robin.
And you're listening to Rock Detention.
I don't feel tardy.
Gentlemen, how are we?
Always good, man. How you boys?
So good. So
good.
good. Someone just...
Sitting in a hotel room.
Yeah.
What?
So you were just cutting out a lot on my end. Did you hear everything you just said, TJ?
I heard it because I'm talking to myself, so yeah.
Huh.
There's a delay. There's a delay on Robin a little bit, but
Right on. Cool. Well, anyway, I can't even see Robin right now.
Yeah, it cut back to that blue screen. I don't know why. Yep, now I'm back.
There he is. There he is.
Uh,
So as y'all can see, Robin is not at home right now. So yours truly is running the show. So if there are any technical difficulties, it's probably my fault.
or the internet where I am. The internet where I am is probably going to be at fault here most for anything. So,
How was the drive in, man? You're on your way to
Nashville, yeah.
That's awesome, man. But you're not there yet.
No, I don't know where I am right now. Actually, there's not even a town around me. I'm just like literally at a Comfort Inn on the side of the road. So
Right on. Are you? You told us you're near something cool. So you're gonna share that with us?
Oh yeah, so we pulled over to this Comfort Inn. It's a pretty nice hotel, and we walked out the front door to just go get food. And there's this kind of this random like small little music museum, and the building right next to the museum is a tiny schoolhouse which Tina Turner went to.
That's awesome.
It's like this random stop in the middle of Tennessee somewhere, and we've got Tina Turner's schoolhouse right next to us.
Dude, my mom used to work out to Tina Turner growing up, so I what?
Great workout music.
Yeah. I can't stand the rain beneath my window.
that'd never power me through a workout. I just start dancing.
Oh my goodness gracious! Wait, I just got a text from the Papa Bear. Let me make sure everything is copacetic. Raise the overall level. Well, I
yeah,
don't.
So just take the.
Sorry, guys. I'm.
Take the 2 sliders on Ecamm, so just raise the
Okay.
Skype one and yours just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
Go to 11.
hopefully that fixed things. So I just brought it up to. Sorry, guys. We're gonna get to the show in just a second. All right. Well, hopefully that's. Is that better, Papa Bear? All right. Anyway, guys, let's get this thing rolling. I'm really excited to have this next guest on. Amazing guitar player, amazing guy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome. Wait a minute. I got to get my button ready, and then I'll bring him on. I don't want to mess this up. Don't laugh at me.
I'm laughing at you.
All right, here we go. Wait. Guest set up. Okay. Let's try this again. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Will Knaak. Yes, there it is.
What's up? Wow.
How you doing, man?
Most excellent, man. What a beautiful day down in Texas. And just loving life, man. Feeling good tonight. Glad to be with you guys. It's an honor and good to see you guys.
Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah.
It sure was pretty in Texas today. I will agree to that.
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't? Yeah. Where are you right now, TJ? Minnesota.
Minnesota.
What's the weather like up there, dude?
It's been nice the last few days. We hit like 80 the other day, and then now it's probably do some thunderstorms tonight, and then it'll snow again tomorrow or something. That's just the way it goes.
That's absurd. We saw snow for a week. What, last month?
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
doomsday.
Oh my
Everything's
God.
shut down here.
It was not a pleasant time. That's for sure. It was cold.
Yeah, dude, and
So
you couldn't get
cold.
milk.
Okay.
I don't know. That was just something that we had problems getting was milk.
Well, what are you gonna drink with your brookies? You told me about some brownie cookies you were cooking up, right? So you need
Oh,
milk for the brookies.
Oh, I can't believe you just said Brookies online.
I
Dude,
broke the internet, man.
gar, Steve. Dude, Steve the Pirate, for those of you who don't know why I always say gar, it's from the movie Dodgeball. I love Steve the Pirate. Did you see that movie?
Oh yeah.
Okay, just
Classic.
making sure. Anyway.
He doesn't know he's a pirate, though.
He does know he's a pirate.
But, like, towards the end.
Oh, towards the end, he gives it up. And
Yeah.
then, Vince Vaughn is like, well, Steve, if you're not a pirate anymore, who am I going to share all this buried treasure with? Gar,
Gar.
Steve. That's my favorite line in that movie. It gets me going. But yeah, I made some brookies a couple of days ago for Easter. And it was a chocolate chip cookie layer, what's it called? A crust with brownie on top. Dark chocolate Ghirardelli brownie. It was unreal. And it was better the next day. Because it was a little underdone the day of, a little runny, but it like solidified overnight, and it was almost like a chocolate mousse. Oh my Lord, have mercy. I'm not even mad. And Robin, I still can't see you.
Yeah, no, it's going to do that for anybody watching. It's going to do that all night, and I apologize. I will have better internet next week. But shit happens. So
Yeah.
as long as you can hear me, I would say that's good, because as I said earlier, this is not going to be missed. The face wise.
I can
We're good.
agree with that statement.
Wow, thanks.
Ah, shucks. I'm just kidding you, dog. Alrighty. All right, let's jump into this, brother. Where do you begin, man? When did music start for you?
Oh wow. Well, my dad played piano, and my earliest memories are like him Rocky Raccoon, and I'm like crawling around his feet under the pedals. That's my earliest music memories, really. And so I'd like tinker on the piano and like try and find little melodies and stuff. And my uncle played guitar too. I guess my grandmother played violin and piano really well, but she had Alzheimer's before I was even born, so she was real diminishing, and she passed when I was like 8, so she wasn't even able to play at that when I could have seen her. So I always have really wondered, because they say that like she was better than my dad, and my dad in his heyday he could play, man. Like he's played some serious ragtime stuff, and he had some chops.
Dude, that ragtime is no joke. That's like fast, jazzy chords and whatnot.
Yeah, and to bounce at that left hand, like bouncing octaves and stuff, you gotta know your business. But so kind of grew up with it around me all the time, and tinker with it a little bit. I guess Jerry Lee Lewis and Jimi Hendrix were the first two artists that I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. I remember just my brother had some records, and they'd got him like a stereo for one of his Christmases or birthday. I don't really remember which, but he had that, and I would just kind of check those out on repeat. And I thought that my first concert was actually at Aquafest in Austin, going and seeing Jerry Lee Lewis. I think I was like maybe 5. I remember I kept falling asleep.
Did you say Aquafest?
Yeah, Aquafest.
Is that the one that's on Lake Travis?
It doesn't. I don't think it exists anymore. It used to be it would be held at Auditorium Shores, and it was like a bunch of, I think possibly free concerts, or maybe they I don't know. But it was a big deal back in the day. There was really big concerts at Auditorium Shores, and so I kind of remember that. I was like falling asleep a bunch, but they woke me up. And years later, as I was playing, I knew people who put on events, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, the year Jerry Lee played Aquafest." Well, the reason he went on so late is he was requesting drugs, and they wouldn't bring him any, right? So they're like, finally they got a dentist in there to prescribe some Demerol or something, and so they shot him up with Demerol that he went on stage. But my parents luckily hung out for that. I remember being on my dad's shoulder, and they like woke me up, and I got to see him play, Great Balls of Fire, and it's so hazy because I was so young. But it's kind of funny to hear the backstory years later as you get involved in the scene. But
sure. How
Then it
old were
was
you at
like,
that time?
You know, 5, I think, when we went to the Jerry Lee Lewis concert. 5, maybe 6. I don't know. Between 4 and 6.
But you didn't understand that kind of stuff back then, and now hearing these stories, it's crazy to think that you were around it all.
Yeah, but then to think, like, I know why I was falling asleep and why I remember there being some sort of static, like, why is it taking so long for him to come on stage? And now it's like, oh, yeah. So it made sense. That was kind of funny. Then got into Nirvana, you know, and that was kind of the first stuff I started learning. At 11, I got a little more serious. And so I started learning a bunch of Nirvana and Green Day stuff because grunge was kind of in the heyday. I was born in 84, so, you know, 90s is grunge.
1984. That's one of Robin's favorite albums.
Oh, shut up. Shut up.
You mean 1985?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that anything Van Halen did was awesome,
of course.
man. I used to get into arguments about people, Van Hagar, Van Halen, which is it? And, you know, there's things to love about all of it. And Eddie was just so genius. Anything he touched was good to me. So
Looks like you might be a fan, judging by what's behind you.
Oh, yeah. No, that's got a couple cool pictures in here. But, yeah, Eddie, man, we lost one of the best, man.
Agreed.
That we did, man. I wish I could have seen him live. Never got a chance.
I saw him a couple times.
Did you really?
Unreal. Yep.
I saw the last tour. When did you see him, TJ?
I think 07 when they got back with David Lee Roth, and then I think 2012. I think they came to town, and I saw him at it was like Rock USA. I think in 2013. It was like Dokken and Van Halen and Rat or something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was the weekend of concerts.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
Was that did they have Michael Anthony on bass, or did they have Wolfgang?
Wolfgang.
Okay.
Which,
dude, I'm excited for his new album.
Yes, dude. Those three tunes he's released are phenomenal.
Dude. And he's playing everything on the recording.
Did you watch the music video of him going to, like, he's the producer, he's the engineer, and he's like talking to himself?
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
Go
yet.
watch the music video, dude. It's great.
All right, I'll mute myself. I'll be back.
No, okay, stay. Good lord. Okay, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Keep going.
No, to speak to that, I was listening to those, and I can't now. I'm blanking on the name of the song. If you tell it to me, it's one of the heavier ones, but that guitar solo in it's ripping, dude. I was wondering because I hadn't really checked him out playing guitar, right? But he wrote a great solo on that. Man, it has all that little legato part in the middle, has all the Van Halen specialties, and at apex is really nice. You know, like it just has the nice climax and sails off smoothly. So that was really cool, and what a hard legacy to live up to. But I definitely think he's doing it in spades. So,
wait a minute, were you just talking about Wolfgang? Wolfgang on the solo. Okay, I thought you were talking about Eddie. You said one of the heavier songs. I was like, well, you know, all of his songs are pretty heavy. And for some reason, I'm
blanking on what it was called.
Don't back down, or is it
sound right?
No, or is it You're to Blame?
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
They're both great.
Gnarly.
Oh, yeah.
Back on Van Halen. Favorite Van Halen solo? Go.
You know, I'm going to go with like I'm going to go with Cathedral just because I would have said like something more ripping up. I think that one's super cool.
Absolutely,
dude. How he does that.
Absolutely. TJ?
Oh, I don't know. I just love the breakdown in Panama so much. Like,
yeah,
it's tough to beat that. Yeah. I don't know. Just even like the jump solo, like just like anything Eddie does, like that doesn't make sense and it works somehow. Like this, there's nothing that should work about this. Like, but it does. It's amazing.
Every time, dude, lands on his feet. What about you, Zach?
Oh, Ice Cream Man, no questions asked.
That's it.
Robin?
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm always tossed up between all of this because, like, I was shown Van Halen, or I was shown Van Hagar first. So OU 812 is the first Van Halen I ever heard. And so they, at that point in time, they were definitely a lot more polished in their production. And so the solos all on that album were just, that's what I heard. That's what I knew of Van Halen. And I wasn't introduced to early Van Halen until later. And so I've always had, and I'm looking up the name because I always blank on this. I believe, well, And the Cradle Will Rock is probably one of my favorite Van Halen songs.
Have you seen Junior's Grades?
Unchained. I think I'm gonna go with Unchained as my.
I'm the one in my head now too. I'm like, that's another good one. I'm just going through the catalog in my head.
Oh yeah.
I know that's really a loaded question. You really can't choose just one. It's all of them for different reasons. I really like the Beat It solo, which isn't on a Van Halen record, but you put that solo amazingly, Zach.
Oh, well, thank you. I do appreciate that, man. I occasionally hit the right notes, get lucky.
We all get lucky sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Y'all a lot more than me, because all three of y'all can play guitar better than I can.
No, you rock, brother.
I'm not a soloer. I can't solo. I can play a rhythm guitar.
But that's
I'll be a really good rhythm guitar. I'll play rhythm guitar really well.
I play a mean air guitar, so.
Dude, I love air guitaring. That's fun. I do that in the road. I'm pretty sure I'm on someone's Instagram story and or Snapchat, like at a stoplight.
I wonder how many. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have yet to hear. I have yet to see someone playing air guitar hit a wrong note. Just saying.
Thank you, Robin.
You could do a stink face. I actually thought of an interesting topic or a point to bring out when you said, where did music start for you? And I think connection being that you're a Hennig, kind of at your granddad's music store, Austin, is, when I finally got into it, I was pestering my dad, like, I want an electric guitar. I want an electric guitar. He's like, well, you don't even know all the chords. So it was during the summer, he left for work that day, and he had this old Martin. So I taught myself, I looked at this book he had or whatever, and it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And he's like, okay, well, I guess we got to go buy the electric guitar, like you're showing some initiative, right? So we went down to Ray's, and your granddad was, giving us a spiel on how great a Strat was. So I walked out there with a Mexican Strat, man, and still have it.
I love
it. Yeah, man. So another
soul.
funny thing is, man, what a guy, there's a legend. But when I was 15, and this is kind of like the point of no return, like when I was 12, I started playing on stage. Some older cats, Johnny X is a guy, he kind of took me under his wing, and they would teach me the stuff they were playing, old Ventures tunes, Chuck Berry tunes, whatever it was. I kind of get up and start playing with them. And people would like tip more if I played Johnny Be Good behind my head, right? So they're like, oh, we can use this kid to make money. And then when one of the guitar players would be gone, I already knew a lot of the stuff. They'd start hiring me to fill in. So I was playing around Austin from the time I was 12, kind of naively. But the mayor caught me playing at Warro's one time, and I was going to do a gig at Auditorium Shores. And so they worked it to, I got a proclamation, Will Knaak Day, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Dude, I forgot to ask you about that.
Your granddad
go ahead.
Presented it at the concert on behalf of the mayor. And like the news was there and all this. And I remember like that was the first time I played in front of, it was like 5,000 people from, playing like in front of 100 people at a bar room or whatever in Austin. And that rush of that energy and, so I can't remember. A lot of it was, I was improvising most of my solos at the time, which, it's a mixed bag. Like playing a well-written solo is great too, but I hadn't really figured out how to do that yet. I could either play a part someone else had done or improvise, but it's like, when you're improvising, you can play beyond yourself and you can play these things you've never learned, you'll never recreate again in those white lightning moments. It was just so anonymous. That energy just fed into me. And, it was like I was ruined for anything else. So I dropped out of school, got a GED.
Oh, wow.
I'm playing guitar. But your granddad presented the proclamation to me on behalf of the mayor. So it's pretty cool, man.
That is beautiful. I did not know my grandfather was there. That is. Did you tell my pops that story?
I did tell him one of the times we were at when we were out at Fisher doing some of the Blue October stuff we've been doing over the past couple of years. And yeah, I did tell him, but I guess he didn't tell you. But
I had no idea.
No, man. So it's interesting to have that, and that was the show to me that was like the catalyst of, like I said, I was ruined for anything else, because prior to that, like, oh, maybe I'll do school, like you got to go to school to hang out with girls, right? But then it was like, I don't even care about girls. I just want to play guitar.
Hey, man, you know what? You if you really want to do this industry, I mean, you almost you kind of have to have that mentality. It's all or nothing. I tell whenever parents, ask, like, what advice do you have for my kid? I say, well, first of all, like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Because it's not a hobby. It's either all or nothing. Would you agree with that statement?
100%. I've said before, you just can't have a plan B. You got to be willing to, like, I would sleep on my friend's couch and play guitar with a case on the street corner of Congress, then go get a day gig, because I'm going to stay doing it, because you have to. You can't quit before the miracle happens, and yeah, absolutely. I agree with that statement 100%. So, dude,
I'm going to skip around a little bit tonight. And one of my questions was, I mean, dude, I've been, researching a little bit lately, just to kind of see even more stuff you did. You have, for how young you are, you have an incredible roster that you've worked with and played with, and the things that you've done. It's incredible. And I would say, what advice do you have for the younger generation, that wants to, let's say in particular, do the hired gun route and go play with multiple people? What advice do you have for them?
Gigs. And really, it was just, knew I wanted to make a living playing music. So there was times I've fronted my own band, and it's funny, in my teen years, I started a band called the Knaak Attack, and I know you have the Zack Attack moniker, so we have more similarities. That kind of went on through even my early 20s, and I was doing that while playing with other people. But because I realized, like, to sustain myself, I was going to have to adapt, and to keep my calendar full, like, my own band wasn't going to do that for me right out of the gate. So I kind of realized that I could do that. It was almost out of necessity. But yeah, gigs. Take a gig with anybody that'll pay you to play with them. And even in the beginning, people that won't pay you, like, show up and do as good on the gigs that are kind of freebies, because that'll get your name out there. You never know when you're going to play with a drummer who's going to be like, dude, this guy was badass, and then someone else needs a guitar player that's a little more legit than the gig you just did, and they're like, well, let's get this guy. Sure. And you just never know where that connection is going to come from. So always be kind to everybody you're playing with. Always be respectful. Learn the music, learn the set, show up prepared. Have redundancies, like have two guitars. So if you break a string, and grab your other guitar. I take 2 amps to gigs. I take my pedal board. I've found ways to have, like, if everything blew up on this side on my analog pedals, my digital section, I can pull up a fuzz patch and an overdrive, and we still can go. We can still make sound and get the sounds we need. So preparedness, and just not turning down opportunities, not saying no until maybe it gets to a point where, you have enough opportunities that you can be a little more choosy, and sure. then you have to learn how to focus your time. Like, what do I want to do? Well, I want to do this, and sure. then maybe dig in a little deeper. But in the beginning, just play with anybody and everybody, and if it seems something that you can't do, try it anyway, and just work harder, and you'll have to practice harder, because it's not your wheelhouse necessarily, but the things you'll learn from that will inform all your playing in general and just make you a better musician. So,
kids, take notes. Everything he just said, I agree wholeheartedly, 100% with. Robin, do you have anything to add to
that? Listen to as much music as you can, all genres, all over the place. Find the people that so, like, if you're a guitar player, find the guitar players that you want to sound like, and then go and steal everything that they do. And it's like, with me, it was Mike Portnoy first, and he was the first drummer to just, like,
steal is a very harsh word. Maybe borrow some techniques.
No, steal it, man. Like, it's Yeah, it's one of those things that's like, well, I've never liked the phrase imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Um, I've never really liked that way. Some of my favorite guitar players, you, Will, Dave Scher,
Oh, shucks.
you guys, like there'll be points in time where like I'll be listening to y'all playing and I can be like, he got that from Eric Clapton, or he stole that one from Eddie, like. And but it never sounds like, oh, he's just playing an Eric Clapton lick, or oh, he's just playing an Eddie Van Halen lick, because y'all make it your own in how you play it, and the technique that you play, and you just learn that from doing, like, just stealing people's shit. And like, when I started listening to Steve Jordan and studying what Steve Jordan does, I do a lot of what he does when I'm playing, but I do because it's me playing it. And I'm nowhere near the caliber that Steve Jordan is. It doesn't sound like Steve Jordan, but to a drummer, they might go, "Yeah,
sure,
he listened to Steve Jordan on that one." So
that's all it is, man. We learn the songs of our heroes, and then we put our own twist on it. I mean, there's no such thing. There's only 12 notes, so there's no new notes, and there's no new order of notes. So
it's all been done.
That's where I made my mistake. I thought there were some new ones out there.
I mean, technically, if you want to be like technical, there, the frequency range. If you're getting into like quarter tones and all of that kind of stuff.
Thanks, Robin. Thank you for bringing that up.
So
no, that's hilarious, because I was on tour one time in San Francisco. One of my buddies, he's a guitar player y'all really love. His name is Josh Z. He's I guess guitar player and stuff. He was in a metal band in the 80s. It was signed to a major label, and then it all kind of fell apart for him. But he has this hybrid of doing like crazy country stuff with metal chops too, and just really great guitar player. He went back to the Bay, but he was here in Austin shaking things up for a while. But when I was out there, he picked me up and like showed me everything, and we wandered into this Chinese opera in Chinatown. He like went down to this kind of almost basement underneath a shop there, and they were just like all playing this music. It was like a lot of sense, because those notes were soft, but that was the wildest music experience I've ever had. Like, what is this? I thought I was on an acid trip, stone cold sober.
Oh man, and if you're getting into Eastern music and all of that kind of stuff, I mean, they're playing totally different weird scales, and it's funny that you bring up that music, because I was listening to, so every once in a while what I'll do is I'll go on to iTunes and I'll find like, the iTunes makes these playlists of like top 100 USA, top 100 England, top 100 Germany, and all the songs that are like the top 100 songs in the country at that point in time. And recently I clicked on Japan, and so I'm like listening to this pop song, which is totally what we would write a pop song as, same kind of chords, but then in the middle of it, it cuts into their kind of chordal structure, and it just opened up this whole other world of how to like come at a pop song with different chords and note choices, and how their instruments, because this pop song had acoustic guitar and bass and drums on it, but it also had their traditional instruments on it, which just brought a whole other element to it. And I've always thought that their chordal structures and chord progressions are wacky, weird, and I love it. So,
speaking of Japan, ex-Japan, if you guys haven't heard of them, they're like metal gods over there.
Dude, one of my favorite shredders of all time is Akira Taki from a band called Loudness.
yes.
Yeah, they're a Japanese metal band. I remember when I was a teenager, he was on the Rolling Wheels tours, like a rigger of such a big tour, and he like did monitors for Fox Eagles and stuff. And he's a lot older. He was like 25 years older than me, but I remember he turned me on. That's like my connection with 80s music comes from my brother Tim, and I remember him playing Akira for me. It was the album they did with an American singer on Warner Brothers. But man, that guy,
this is awesome.
Yeah.
They love metal music over there.
Yes,
like,
it's unbelievable.
It is, like I kind of thought, so when I saw Spinal Tap for the first time, and like how they end the movie was like, okay, spoiler alert for anybody who's never seen the movie. It's like they ended. It's like, hey, we're flying you to Japan to like resurge your career, and then it's it ends with them playing at like the Budokan or wherever. I think it was the Budokan, but
I've been to
that was
Budokan.
the first time I ever. What?
I've been to Budokan.
Oh man.
One of my favorite live records ever is Dream Theater live at Budokan.
Ozzy Osbourne live at the Budokan.
That's another really good one.
It's pronounced Budokan, by the way.
Yeah, I was probably butchering it.
Because I remember asking the local, I was like, hey, where can I get to Budokan? She's like, Budokan? I said, and she didn't know what I was talking about. She, oh, Budokan. I said it wrong. That's how I know it's Budokan. It's not the greatest story, but I'm not trying to be an I told you so, but a Japanese
Zach,
local.
I love your stories. Like,
they're not stories, they're just facts.
Well, because it's like you'll tell this story and then it's like it just stops and you're like, that's the end.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I don't have the greatest stories, man.
But you do. They're like amazing stories. But it just stops.
You're very kind. Hey, Robin, time out. I'm hearing like every other word from all of you, so I'm really having trouble focusing. And your video still keeps on turning off. Do you have your Skype set to that where it switches per speaker?
Oh shit, we are cutting in and out. Say that again.
Do you have it set to where your video switches to whoever's talking at the time?
No, I don't.
You have all of us up at once?
Yeah.
Shucks. Because whenever you're talking, I see you, but when you stop talking, it goes blue.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that, but let me look at my settings here.
I got an idea. Celsius to save the day. There's our sponsorship.
So I got no idea. I'm just gonna turn noise cancellation, turn that off.
Yeah.
So
it is coming. Did you just listen to it and you said it's stuttering?
Yeah, it's stuttering a little bit. Like through it.
Shucks.
Yeah. But anyways,
Sorry.
We'll hopefully it's recording everything great and we can all listen back on the podcast tomorrow and it sounds brilliant. So listen back on like Apple Podcast or whatever. But I am curious, Will, like who is one of the most influential guitar players to you, and is that someone? So like for me, Steve Jordan's one of my biggest influences on drums, but I hardly ever like play like him or do that kind of stuff. Like I'm mostly doing other things, but he's still a huge influence on me. Is there anybody like that for you, or is it like you're big guys and you're like, yeah, no, I'm doing that kind of stuff my own way? If my question makes any sense.
No, I get what you're saying. I mean, different influences come out when I'm playing different kinds of music. So what I do with Blue October now is like and kind of what some of the roots that I had in grunge and punk rock. But as far as asking about a guitar player, I guess one of my biggest influences would be David Grissom. He's a local guy, and it's kind of just also as a person, there's a lot of things that he kind of stands for and represents, and how he carries himself. And he's actually he started out as a hero guy, and he's become a real close friend. And I mean that's a dude that you can hear three notes and know it's him. So that idea that stuck with me too. What do you sound like, And so yeah, Grissom comes off the top of my head, man. But I don't think a lot of the way he plays necessarily totally fits in with anything I'm doing professionally at the moment. But
right.
I might at a jam in Austin, ripping some rootsy stuff with my buddies, and for sure, all that stuff's gonna come out. So.
I've always found that really interesting. Like I'll talk to people and they'll be like, I'll just have seen like, a punk rock show. and we're sitting there, we're talking, and it's we're like, oh man, we love we did that Misfits cover tonight, and blah blah blah, and then I'll be talking with the guitar player, and they'll be like, yeah, Steely Dan's one of my biggest influences, with my playing. I'm like, but you were playing punk music just now. And he goes, well, yeah, not tonight, but like normally it's that guy. And I'm like, all right. So it's always fascinating to find people's influences. And I thought for the longest time that like it's if I go and see a punk show, it's like, okay, clearly these guys are influenced, like these are their influences. And I very quickly learned that no, they're not. I mean, they may be in some cases, but it's other people. And like I said earlier, it's like just listen to everything. Like people, you can find influences from the most random situations.
Yeah, let it be a musical gumbo, man, and it's always stay curious. That way you'll never get bored doing this. If you're a lifer like me, you've got to stay curious and kind of find a new way to do it.
Yeah.
Something else to try and something else that intrigues you.
Yeah. Zach, you still there? Okay, yeah, you are.
Yes, I'm here. It
like,
hasn't cut out in a second, so I'm just happy.
Yeah,
it's the Celsius, bro.
Absolutely.
Maybe a little caffeine on the podcast.
TJ, real quick.
Yes,
Minnesota, right? You got the
Yep.
Vikings back there.
Yeah.
So people wouldn't guess this about a Texas boy, but I guess in the mid 90s, I became a very big Minnesota Vikings fan.
Hell yes.
Because you're one? Okay,
Oh, hell, diehard.
Warren Moon. He
There you
was
go.
my favorite quarterback growing up. He played for the Houston Oilers, right? And then they traded him to the Vikings, and so I became I had even had a Minnesota Vikings Moon jersey, dude.
Hell yes. Hell yes. Still a Vikings fan? Because it's tough being a Vikings fan.
It's tough. Maybe I was a little more fair weather because I was more of a Warren Moon fan than a Minnesota Vikings fan. But yeah, man, I'll root for the Vikings over the Pack any day.
Hell yeah. That's what we like to hear.
Go sports.
Yeah, Robin and Zach.
Sports ball.
No sports for you guys.
Sports ball with the team and stuff. Go, kick a touchdown.
Go score a net, man. Nothing but score. Nothing but net. Robin and I don't know too much about sports. I do like hockey though. Hockey's wonderful.
It's
There you
almost
go.
that time of year for playoff hockey too. The best time of the year.
I played hockey for a season.
Dude, you also played baseball.
Yeah, I did. Baseball was the sport that I played. That was my sport up until about 7th grade, and then I chose music.
Good for you, man. I think I went full music 8th grade because I was still playing basketball in 7th, maybe 8th.
I did. So 6th grade was my last real year of doing sports. I did football that year. I did one season of football, and I got creamed so hard by I was trying to get to the running back, and their defender just knocked me back. And I just got hit, and I was like, I'm good. I don't want to do this anymore. This sucks. I'm out. And then I played the last season of baseball that year. So
righteous.
Some music.
Cool. That's great, man.
Yeah.
Will, were you in high school band?
Well, I only attended high school for 6 weeks.
Oh Lord. Okay, right on.
I dropped out and got a GED. Yeah. So
Right on.
so no.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe you were there for a little bit longer. That's why I asked about the band. Would you have done jazz band?
Sure, man. Yeah, I've always had some interest in jazz, and so yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I was just curious because that's where Robin and I met, was jazz band, and
Wow.
dude, it kicked my arse, man. I mean, when did chords get all these numbers in them? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Minor 7 flat 5, 7 flat 9.
Dude,
Back to the major 7.
You
Wow,
mean-
they were-
13s, man.
You mean when did chords lose all those numbers? Because it was that stuff first, and then it traipsed down into the simplistic chords that we have in pop music now.
Hey, man,
So-
1 and 5 is all I need. All right.
That's it. Amen.
Dude, I don't think there's a genre as humbling to play as jazz. You'll get up there, even as a drummer, where I don't have chords or anything. I mean, you get up there and it'll either make you feel amazing or it's going to make you go, I need to practice. Like, holy shit.
Right. I kind of, over the last couple of years, because when I'm off the road with Blue October, I play with Ernie Durawa from the Texas Tornadoes. And we do like a gig, a weekly gig, where we'll have a different guest every week. So that keeps you on your toes. Like 1 minute he has, like this Tejano artist, then it's a R&B singer, then it's an old school rock and roll guy, then it's a jazz singer. And so whatever it is, you've got to figure this out. And so it was the only chance I've ever had to really play actual jazz music in a professional situation. And what I realized, where I was conceiving jazz is like, it's such an improv art. No, you just need to learn the song, like straight up, know the changes in and out, know the melody, and then you will be able to solo so much easier and improvise so much easier if you actually learned the song. And so I spent a bunch of time kind of getting about 20 standards where I know the melody, so I'll practice it this way. I'll play the melody, comp over the whole thing, take a solo, play the melody again, and stop and see where I'm at and evaluate. And then it's like I've figured out how to play the song by doing it that way. But yeah, jazz is so humbling. And some of those dudes most of the great jazz musicians, that's all they play. I mean, it's because you have to just play that. You have to be a specialist to really hang in that world at the top level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I play bass and guitar and all these other, I attempt to play all these other instruments. Drums is the only one that I'll be like, I can play drums. I'm a drummer. But yeah, it's like I've been trying to teach myself how to play jazz bass and just like walk the bass in jazz. And I'll always go, like I'll practice and I'll be like, oh, I think I'm getting this. Like, oh, there it is. Okay, no. Okay, I don't have this at all. Like, I lost it.
So you're saying it's not just a bunch of random notes?
No, that's the thing.
You've got to slap the bass, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Whoops, they played it wrong. Oh, they played it wrong again. The Spinal Tap spoof on jazz.
Dude, I don't know about walking the bass, but I sure know about slapping the bass, man. Thank you, TJ.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever seen it's a British sketch show?
Yep, it's
No, it's a British sketch show called the Mighty Boosh. They're the ones that do like Old Greg and all that stuff. But they have one where it's the two main guys talking about jazz, and one of the guys absolutely hates jazz. He's like, "This is terrible music," blah blah. And the other one starts playing jazz music and like scatting, and the guy starts being like, "Don't scat at me. Don't do this." And he's like, "Oh no, I figured you out, man. You don't hate jazz. You fear jazz." And he starts scatting at him, and the guy gets like really scared and runs away.
Makes sense.
We'll post a link, folks.
Yes, I'll post that one on our Facebook page.
All right, moving on. Will, so you and Robin know each other? Maybe have even played together?
Once.
That's right. Go ahead, Robin.
We played together one time.
That's all it takes, man.
Yeah, that's all it takes. I don't think they've done this in a couple of years, but Reckless Kelly used to host this thing up at the Dell Diamond called the Reckless Kelly Celebrity Softball Jam. And so they'd have a big softball game with a bunch of the artists that were playing, and then maybe some, B-list baseball guys. And then there would be a big concert afterwards, and a bunch of bands would play. So it was a bunch of Texas country artists from, lesser known ones all the way to like Kevin Fowler and Wade Bowen and the real big guys. And Reckless Kelly would always play first, and then it was everybody else. And everybody would play like 4 or 5 songs except the last person. So it was the 2 years that I played it. I think it was Kevin Fowler 1 year and Wade Bowen the year before. And they always play like a full concert, full set, like hour. But everybody else gets 4 songs. And I was playing with a lady named Pauline Reese, who's been a guest on this show before. And
has she?
Yeah, she was our first guest of the second season. So yeah. The first year, I believe it was someone else, because I was playing drums and we had a different band at that point in time. And then the second year, I'm on the way to the gig, and she calls me and she's like, "Hey, by the way, my old guitar player Will's going to be playing. And I think at the time were you playing with Wade already?
Yeah. That's why I was already going to be there. So
You're
it made
right.
it. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and I actually got nervous. I was like, oh shit, okay, I actually have to know what I'm, because everybody else I'd played shows with her and all her other musicians already, and you were the only one I hadn't played with. And so I'm like, oh shit, okay. So I'm like listening to the 3 songs that we're gonna play. I was like, I really got to know these. You literally came over, you shook my hand, we got on stage, we played, and you came back, you looked at the drum set, you're like, hey man, nice job, and you were gone. You were back to Wade's bus to like get ready for the show later. I don't know, but that was it. That was the one time we played together.
Did you play both sets that night?
Yeah, I guess so. No, I do vaguely remember that. Some of those softball jams run together a little bit, and no, but I totally do remember that. So I don't remember why I left or what was happening after that, but I do remember the set. And I remember meeting you there. My big memory, I've been to one of your shows, and I think I've seen you play like maybe twice, 2 or 3 times doing your solo thing. So that's what I remembered, and then thinking, oh yeah, we did play with Pauline. It came back to me. I always think of you as your own artist, but now, yeah. Man, I played with Pauline in my early 20s, and that's the first time I went to Europe. We played Farm Aid, man. Like that was crazy. Like getting to play on a bill with the Allman Brothers and
wow,
all sorts. So I'm like hanging out backstage. I met every Allman Brother except Greg, and I just couldn't do it. Like he was just kind of chilling, and everybody was kind of, everybody was trying to get in Greg's business. So I just kind of like stood over there and looked over my shoulder, had someone take a picture, and then walked off. I couldn't bring it. But Derek Chucks, I went up to him, and it was actually really cool. His guitar tech was staying at the same hotel and like gave me the specs of his setups and stuff. So
oh wow,
he uses like 11s on at the time anyway. He used 11s on top, the top 3 strings, so they're a little thicker, and then 10s on the bottom. So he had a hybrid set, and I don't know. The action was like 5/64. Like I got some dirty info on Derek Chuck's guitars. I'll be into him for a while, and what a freak of nature, man! Like,
dude, he's one of those guys that just he'll play, and they played out at the 360 Amphitheater a few years ago. The Tedeschi Trucks, and I just remember watching him play, and I realized that he was playing. It was one of their slow blues or their slow ballads, and he's playing slide guitar, and I realized I was crying. I was like, "Holy shit!" Like this guy, he's just that. Like his note choice is just that good.
It always sounds like someone singing, which that's kind of something I've tried to adopt in playing a solo is like, if you can't sing it, maybe don't play it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you can sing it, it's musical. If not, it's a lick, And so as guitar players, we get into licks. Like I'm as guilty as the next guy. I love knowing my licks, and like that works really good. And, you can play from muscle memory in that way, but that kind of, that idea. So that's where he really shines is like every solo he plays sounds like a woman singing in church, like a big woman singing at church or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's out of control.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good at that soulful music for a white boy.
Back to
apparently
softball.
He made you cry.
Softball. Before I forget, have you guys ever seen Steve Vai do the national anthem for like the MTV Celebrity Softball Jam, like early '90s?
No, I need to watch it.
It's unbelievable. And you have like Janie Lane, Bon Jovi's there, Bret Michaels. Like at one scene, they like cut to Bret Michaels while he's doing the national anthem, and you just see Bret Michaels go, "Wow." It's fantastic. I'll see if
I've seen Yngwie do it. You seen the video of Yngwie doing it?
The national anthem?
Yngwie's great though.
Oh my god.
How many notes were there?
Yeah.
All of them.
All the notes. Was it because he does the Vi and Satriani do that? What is it? It's G3, right?
Yep.
And the one with Yngwie when they're playing, because it's always I think it's they each go by themselves and do a set of their own stuff, the 3 of them, and then they come out and they do their own, and they're playing a song, or maybe just all 3 songs that they play together at the end. Yngwie plays like 2 chords. That's it. Everything else is just all soloing over the entire song.
As it should be.
Arpeggio.
Yeah, just all that classical, that neoclassical technique. Just vomiting all over the song.
Right. Well, it's like Steve Vai and Satch, they kind of have this lingo going, and like they'll do a whammy bar dive, and then the next guy will do it and kind of like expand upon it, and Yngwie will just play 64th notes in a harmonic minor. And then Steve Vai and Joe Satriani will come back to their conversation they were having and be playful and take it somewhere else. He's playing. Once you've heard one of his solos, you've heard all his solos, but his one solo is freaking the best ever.
Exactly. He's amazing at doing what he does.
Yes.
So I saw him on social media a couple of weeks ago, and I'm gonna totally butcher this, but it was something along the lines of he was talking about he's got a new album or a new song or something come out, and like with a completely straight face, he was just like, I'm not even gonna try his accent, but he said something along the lines of I will tell you, I can't play you this song, but I will tell you it is very neoclassical. Really? We know that. I just thought it was funny.
I saw a video of him, like, a cup of coffee at the table, like, and he just, like, it's not that hard to play. And I was like, it was just a cup of coffee, just sitting there at the table, and he's like, it's really not that hard. I'm like, huh, really?
Have you ever watched his instructional video?
Well, it's like Paul Gilbert always did that. Like, he'd be like, I'm not that good, but here, just try this lick, quick.
Well, and he'll say, it's like, okay, repeat that for me. And he's like, okay, I'll slow it down for you.
Exactly.
That's his exact
amazing.
guitar tone, too.
Yeah.
There's one quote, I can't remember what interview it's from, but he's like, he's saying, older musicians would always tell me, don't play so fast. Less is more. And I say, how could that be? It's impossible. More is more. Yep, more is more.
Oh my God.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness.
Who was whose teacher in Satriani and Vai? Between those two, one of those was the other one's teacher at
Pretty
one
sure
point.
Satriani taught Vi, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I thought it was.
Sounds right.
Yeah. I always forget. I always get it backwards.
Well, I heard
Satriani had the cool hair.
Oh.
Sorry.
Who's your favorite metal guitar player, TJ, or who's your favorite guitar player?
Oh boy, this one's pretty easy.
It
Vito
rhymes
Bratta.
with vibrato. Oh.
White Lion. Dude.
Oh, wow.
And speaking of, like, you're talking about, like, guitarist, if you can't sing it, don't play it kind of deal. Like, that, he has an interview once where he's like, all right, if Mike Tramp, I can hear him singing this, so I'll play this, and I'll just drop down to this. And just, like, some of the taps he had, like a tap slide, and I'm like, why didn't I think of that? And, like, he took, like, what Eddie did and then just made it his own, too. And it's just, like, I'm not going to say he's a better Eddie Van Halen, but just, like, his melodicness to him, like, it's a different breed of Eddie.
Right. No, I mean, no one can. What's better or best, right? It's always different. But Eddie did give everybody this, like, he pioneered it, so he gave everybody the springboard to make all this awesomeness in so many different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. The stuff I've heard out of White Lion, like, there's things that are reminiscent of Eddie, but maybe refined in a different way or something. So
Yeah. Well, I love his tone so much. Like, if I could have one tone to play with the rest of my life, it'd be that one.
So, Will, I've got to jump back onto your story here. I've always been really curious because I always knew you as one of the guitar players in the Texas country music scene. So, like, it was you and Josh Sorrento and all those guys in that scene, and then for you to all of a sudden be playing with Blue October, that's a definite shift in music. What was, like, when you made that musical shift, was there like a kind of a mind, like almost a mind change that you had to kind of get into and go, oh yeah, I'm not doing that anymore, like I'm doing this? So
yeah, but only in the sense that I've had to do that for any gig I've done in the past. And so if it's a blues gig, like, you're gonna show up and play some cool blues stuff, or it's just, listening to the music, it kind of dictates how it wants to be played. So really that's known, but growing up in Texas, and like I said at the beginning, like, wanting to sustain, It's never like I was someone that was listening to country music on the radio growing up, like, oh, I'm going to play country. Like that's my thing. It's that the gigs that paid more and were more prevalent happened to be country. And then I started, my uncle liked country. He taught me how to play Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings stuff, Willie Nelson. And there's one of my favorite country guitar players is Albert Lee, great British player, man, just flawless. I nerded out on his stuff and stole a bunch from him. And, it's kind of how I got involved in country anyway, I started out loving grunge, right? So, when I got a call to play for, I was like, yeah, I totally want to play for a rock band. And yeah, that's great. And it's a totally different skill set, but it wasn't I just knew what was appropriate for the gig. I've had to do that so many times. It's like, oh, well, this is how you play for that gig. So you would never play like that. Like I might play on Wade stuff, but the song dictates everything for me, kind of.
So when you made the shift over to Blue October, had you done that style of music before? And when I refer to that style, I'm referring to the ambient, like the U2 sounds, that kind of stuff. Or was that new to you at that time?
I hadn't done a whole lot of it, but there was a band Alpha Rev I filled in for a little bit. That was them back then.
I played with them.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You ever heard of them, Robin?
Yes.
And then some random singer-songwriters and sessions I'd done would call for that. But as far as like a professional gig that I did long term, there was an ambient gig. No, not really, but was definitely interested in that stuff and kind of had an idea, just get more delay, more reverb, and go to town. I mean, there's not a lot of solos in Blue October stuff. It is more ambient and, serving the song. Justin's a great writer, and it's all focused around what he's doing that informs the guitar what to do. So that was interesting too, like kind of coming into a band that's has a history, and you need to pay respect to what has been there while still trying to kind of take it your own direction. I've gotten more comfortable with that too, like kind of adding a little bit of my own touch with it, whether it even be just sonically, some of the note choices. There's a solo on the new record. It's the only solo on it. It's on Love Stupid at the end that he just told me like, I want something that's shred, but not shred. And I want it to be really weird. So I went home and I started just riffing out with some stuff, and I recorded it to give him a reference to bring to the studio the next day. And like, hey, is this kind of in the direction? And he's like, well, drop it in the track. I'm like, that's it. So that was it. We just did it. And I used like a weird octave thing. It's not the whammy pedal, so it doesn't have the sweep, the Tom Morello thing. It's just I step on and off at weird times and make it stutter on itself.
That's dope.
A fuzz and like a slap back delay through like a Tweed Deluxe, I think, or something like that. Was that the amp I used? Maybe I used a little 18-watt Marshall. I don't remember. But yeah, that's kind of me, like bringing my own stamp on there. So yeah, that's an interesting thing. Like you always want to be yourself,
Sure.
but songs have to be respected. You don't just go play a top 10 hit on radio from 06 however I want to freaking play it. I'm gonna play it like it sounds, and then later on, like, oh, I added a cooler reverb on that verse part to make it shine a little more because it fits in more with the music we're doing now. And then I got maybe a little more aggressive on the chorus tone because it was actually a request to Jesse. He's like, hey, I don't want it to sound as safe as the record.
Sure.
Make it bigger and gnarlier. Think of yourself as Robin Fink from the 9 Inch Nails. Like, okay, I can do that.
But you're still respecting the song from the way it was recorded.
Absolutely.
And that to rewind back to the beginning of the show, when you were giving advice, to the younger generation who may want to be, play with bands, hired gun or not, whatever. I am a hired gun. I've done a lot of hired gun gigs, and that is another piece of advice: is learn the songs like the record. If they ask you to put your own spin on it or change tones or whatever, do that. But always respect the record. If before you go in for an audition, learn it like the CD they sent you, or MP3. I don't know if people still send CDs, but
My last audition, they sent me a vinyl. They didn't.
No. Well,
That'd
that's
be
coming
cool,
back.
Yeah.
So sorry to take it back there, but I wanted to make sure. That was something I wanted to say earlier, and then this was just you bringing it up reminded me. I love the ambient stuff you're playing, man. That is definitely a style that I am not super familiar with. I mean, I play with delays and reverbs, but I'm very plug in and turn up the gain and let's go. Chug on the 1 and 5. I mean, I love 80s metal. It's what makes me happy. So that's kind of what I do.
Merry metal.
Well, man, there's a lot of 80s music that has some great ambient stuff. And, I mean, I'd been familiar with like The Cure or The Smiths, but that's like one of Justin's, our singer's favorite stuff. So like, I definitely paid attention to what his influences are too. And, so U2's another one. Like, of course, you can't not be influenced by U2 just because you've heard it so many times. Whether you choose to say, I love this as an influence or I don't, you are. Like, it's in there somewhere, right? Like, everything we hear influences us. But yeah, 80s music has a lot of great ambient. So it's just a different genre of the 80s. But I don't know what the point I'm trying to make. If you love 80s, you love ambient too, Strymon, dude, get some Strymon pedals and just crank them up, and they do great, man. Like for the ambient stuff, the Big Sky is like the best sounding reverb and the most versatile reverb I've found. It does all sorts of cool stuff. So anything from something just minimal and tasty to enhance a clean tone to like stuff that makes it sound like it's in outer space.
So speaking of Strymon, those are the bigger pedals that have, like 5 or 6 knobs on it, correct? The big squares?
5 or 6 knobs. Yeah, there's some that there's some that are squares and then some that are rectangles. I'm talking about the rectangle ones. The rectangle ones are really helpful for what I do with Blue October because, everything we're doing is BPM. There are some tracks happening of like stuff that, you can't really play live, like weird studio stuff that Justin will come up with on a weird synthesizer. It doesn't even sound like an instrument,
Sure.
That we want to bring into there. So everything needs to be synced up. But the beauty about those time-based effects with the Strymon is you can set a patch for the song, set the BPM,
Sure.
and then you don't have to tap. It's perfect every time. And
of course.
That's so nice.
Are you MIDI-ing all of your pedals?
I just started over COVID, so I didn't do it for any of the tours yet, but I will start because at the first live stream we did at Fisher, actually, where your dad works, our violinist Artie was doing that, running MIDI from the computer
Gotcha.
to his pedal board. So he's like, well, let's just try it and we'll program you some patches. And now,
dude,
yep, all my at least the 4 digital pedals I have all do
sure
change. It's
well,
awesome.
Godspeed to you, my friend. I am terrified. I have a lot of friends in the like heavy metal touring circuit, and they're on Kempers and crazy rack rigs, and they go out in the front of the stage. All they have is their guitar, and all of their pedal changes and everything are built into MIDI time code. And I'm sorry, I am old school. I want a button in front of me, an oh shit button, if you will, so I can turn something on or off. You know what I mean?
I absolutely know what you mean. And I still, even, I've only done it 3 times, right? We've done 3 live streams. Like, this COVID thing sucks. Like, that's the most I played my pedal board professionally is 3 times this year. But when that happened, like, I'm looking at it like, I even caught myself like going to the preset prior to the MIDI change. Like, the song ends, like, okay, they're into the ocean. And then the computer will come back and restart my patch. But I have to go there. So in case something goes wrong,
absolutely,
like, I know it's there. So
you've already
totally
started on these live streams. The computer was changing your patches.
It does. Yeah.
Oh,
it's crazy, man. It's nice when you see it pop up, but I don't know that I would have the, like, I still would make our guitar tech step on, like, there's this moment where I do a solo and the first half is like a dotted eighth real clean thing that needs to be clean. So the eighth, it kind of almost has like a cathedral vibe, but without the volume spells. And then I need to kick into some just heavier stuff and riff out, right? And so I'd have him step off the delay, or step on a drive pedal or a boost pedal, and then step off my delay for me halfway in between. But I guess you could build that stuff in the MIDI stuff, but I agree with you. I don't know. It's kind of scary. Like, what if it just stays on that clean tone? I'm like, it sounds like.
Oh, let me tell you what, man. Sweeping does not sound good on a clean tone.
No.
But if you can make it sound good on clean tone, it's gonna sound great with the dirty tone.
Dude, okay. So I had an oh shit story. So it was probably my second or third show with the Michael Jackson show in Las Vegas. Okay, and we started at the Rio casino, and we were actually in Prince's theater, the circular theater that Prince had his show in. That's where our show was, and at the time, all I could bring was my guitar. I had to use their rig. Okay. Their amp, their pedal board, and everything, and it was a multi-effects board where everything, all the tones were programmed in, and we got to Dirty Diana, which has a crazy shredding solo in it, and I swear to you, this story is not that great, and it's not going to have a great ending like most of my stories. But it was, you just reminded me of it. And long story short, I went to the wrong patch and I had to play the Dirty Diana shred solo in complete clean. And I'll never forget that night. And from then on from that night on, I always was very careful about the patches. That's the end of the story. Thank you.
At least you had tone. I remember one of the first shows that I ever played, or gigs. It wasn't really even a gig. But first one I ever really played on guitar, I went to go like hit the big chord. It was like a church gig thing, and I went to go hit the big chord, and I had stepped on my guitar cord and pulled it out just a little bit. So here's the big chord, no sound. Couldn't figure out what was going on.
That's awesome.
And I was like,
see, and then some little kid in the crowd was like, "See, Mom, he is miming." Anyway.
Right. Oh man, I get that. My mistakes and like the changing the patch isn't necessarily a mistake, but there's so many things that go on. Like those are some of my mistakes, is like changing the pedal at the wrong time, and I always remember those more than I ever remember the good shows. Those are just like, you're just floating on air, right? But those moments where things are a little bit tough, like 10 seconds seems like 10 years, and just sticks with you forever. So that's brutal.
Well,
Amen. Sweet. I have a couple more questions for you, brother. Here's a boring one for you. Have you been staying sane during COVID? But apparently you've been super busy if you've done 3 live streams. But what are you doing to stay sane when you're not live streaming?
Well, I've been working out and running. I've been sober several years. I'm a pretty bad drug addict and alcoholic. So like there's other things I had to adjust to make myself feel good. And fitness is one of those. Like if I miss a day, my depression kicks back in. So, that has been huge. Emily and I have been going on family runs. We take the baby, and that keeps me, the vitamin D now is like, I feel better than ever lately. So that's pretty non-negotiable. I've been playing every day, pretty much. Every now and then there's a day we have to go out to the in-laws or something, and you're with your dad mode. But even being a dad, like it just makes me, I have to focus. Like if I have 30 minutes here and then 45 minutes there and maybe an hour there if I'm lucky, I can still get in at least 2 hours of playing a day. And
that's
I'll go through some different stuff, and sometimes I get a lot more, but try and structure that in her naps and when Emily's available. So still playing every day, creating a bunch. I probably wrote like 60, 70 instrumental sort of things that I've been bringing to our singer. And we actually went over 2 of them 2 weeks ago, started fleshing them out. And one's going to be a pretty gnarly rocker. It has a real nice kind of heavy, trashy riff to it. Because he writes real pretty. He's a real beautiful writer. And he's more about lyrics and melody. So guitar, this one like is driven by the guitar, which is super cool. So he's like, yeah, we need some party songs. Like this
Dude.
one's gonna be right. So I think he wants to call something about I gave her what she wanted. I think I blew her speakers out. But we'll see what happens. It's still in its
Dude, that's
infancy.
a great line.
Right. It comes from something in his dark days. He recorded something and we hobbled it in there, and then it's like whoa, wow, that made sense. We're gonna just use it as like a little intro. But so I've been still writing sessions. And I've actually been doing a lot of Zoom lessons with Blue October fans. So that's been a great way to kind of stay in touch musically. Thank y'all because y'all are keeping some diapers on Little Nova when I don't have a touring career, which, man, it's just, there's been some real tough times, though, I'll tell you that, where I just like, I've never gone this long since I was 12 without playing this much. Like it just, playing for people, with people, that connection, I lose myself in it. And that's where I feel the most comfortable. My self-consciousness and my all the things I hate about myself just kind of blend into the ether in those moments. Yeah, so I guess that kind of sums it up, right? Working out,
Sure.
playing, writing, being a dad. That's the one blessing, is that I literally, they had scheduled the tour around my due date anyway, which is super sweet of the guys and management and everything. But I would have come home like 4 days before she was born, my little baby Nova, and then leave like for like 2 months after being home for like 2-3 weeks or something like that. And then, come home again but be out a lot more. But those early days, I wouldn't have been around but a couple weeks.
Dude,
and
it was a blessing, dude. A blessing in disguise.
Yeah, so I've been here her whole freaking first year. She's about to turn a year on the 17th of this month. So
Congratulations, man. 17 is a great number, by the way. I love 17.
it is good, right?
Oh my
She
goodness.
was just 17.
Uh,
You know what? And I saw her standing there. I used to play that with
Dude.
somebody.
oh, okay. Well, not the song I was
You thinking a
thinking
winger
of.
too, Robin?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, wait.
She's only 17. No.
That was like when you said that was the first song that popped in my head. And
No.
when Zach said the other one, I was like, oh,
Or
that's
Paul
right, that's a
McCartney,
Beatles song.
the other 17-year-old song.
Is this turning into a Jerry Seinfeld thing? Right now? He got in trouble for that, right? Anyway, whatever. Okay, no.
Oh, no politics,
for-
bro. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, no
He's a
current
comedian.
events. What?
It's not
Oh,
a
yeah.
current events.
That's not correct.
Okay.
It's like years and years ago.
I don't know. I just don't want any negativity on here, man. Damn. Shucks.
No, there you
Shoot.
go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no Jerry Seinfeld jokes.
Well, we almost had Jerry Seinfeld on, but there's our cross
Yeah,
for
well,
the
we're
week.
not having him on.
Okay. Wait. Okay. So I've got some more. I wanted to. I hope that TJ doesn't know about this next piece of information, because I think he'll be really excited to know this. But I read somewhere that you have played with the Sexton Brothers when you were younger.
Yeah, absolutely. So Johnny X, I got a tat of X on there. He's the guy that, kind of brought me up under his wing when I was 12, and they were playing, a band was playing, they called it the Mystic Knights of the Sea. And so it was John and Speedy, who were two of the older cats I was playing with, and they would have Will and Charlie. Sometimes they would have David Holt play, and Mike Buck play drums. And there was a couple occasions where I got to get up and just play a couple tunes with them. And
Dude, that
yeah. And I played with Charlie actually up at Steamboat Music Fest right before I left Wade. I was up there playing that, and he was up there with the Tornadoes, and we both got up with the Texas Tornadoes and played. And that was super cool.
Dude,
So
TJ, you're a big Charlie Sexton fan, correct?
Big time, absolutely. And actually, I think until we started the podcast and just talk with Robin, I didn't know there was like a iconic second album, because I only listened to like the first one when he was like 16, and I'm like, your voice sounds like that at 16, and you shred? I'm like, that's not fair.
not fair.
Well, and
But,
it's like
yeah.
he had that album, and then he had that first one, and as far as I can tell, the second one didn't do anywhere near.
Well,
it.
that's what I don't think it was even. Like, I think I had just gotten down the YouTube wormhole or something, and then I think bought that album or something, and then just never really realized there was a second one. So, like, for it to be off my radar, even usually I'd be like, oh yeah, guys, there's a second album, it was way better. If you haven't heard it, some of the albums fall off the radar, but
Oh,
I had
yeah.
not heard it. last year, and then I started jamming it, and I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, Charlie's second album. It's you can hear you can hear the maturity all around in his playing, in his singing, in his songwriting, in the production of the album. And as great as the first one is, I'm always the kind of person that when I'm listening to a band, I always love their first album or their first couple of things, but I always like to hear where they're gonna go. Like, I love Incubus, Fungus Among Us, Science, Make Yourself, their first couple of things. But then to go and listen to like their later stuff, like Light Grenades and on, it's always really fun to listen to how a band matures. And then you have a band like 311 that's just basically has made the Blue Album from 1993 12 different times. So
well,
Well, there goes
311's not going to be on the band. I mean, the
The
podcast.
thing, whatever
First
we
off,
are.
they will be on here because they're a phenomenal band, but
Yeah.
B, they found a formula that works.
Totally.
Like, and they know that, and they stuck with it.
Dude, I've seen them twice at the original Backyard, and that is probably still my favorite Austin venue of all time.
Mhm.
I loved the Backyard. When the old, the one right off of 71.
Hell yeah.
Did you ever
one
play that
that-
one, Will?
Yeah. Played it opening for Willie a couple nights. And another thing that was like a benefit or something. But yeah,
Right on.
that was a great venue, man. I saw one of my favorite concerts. I was for my 18th birthday, I bought tickets to go see the Allman Brothers there. And I might have taken mushrooms, I might have not, but Eric Johnson got up there and sat in, and I was out, and I was like, who's this little kid that plays like Eric Johnson? I was like, wait, it's Eric Johnson. Okay, good. It's not an 11-year-old kid that's playing like I was losing my mind. But, dude, Derek Trucks sat up there and laid down the biz, though, man. Like, him holding up against Eric's flurry of the notes on the slide was pretty mind-blowing, man. Like, to be that agile with the slide, to be able to match Eric. Like,
Oh man,
I don't know, man. Whatever. Thanks.
I need to dig more into the Tedeschi Truck stuff. They are talked
good.
about a lot in Nashville. A lot of
Yeah.
the rings that I hang out, rings of people. Is that what do you say? Is it my groups, my friends? I don't know.
Your circle of friends.
Circle. Thank you. The circles that I run around with in Nashville. A lot of people talk about them, so I need to dig into that more. Especially if Will speaks highly of them, I definitely need to go check it out.
Dude, well, check out some of his early stuff too. There's like a record he did with Jimmy Herring when he was 19. I think it might all be instrumental. And then he got a guy singer, but just the Derek Trucks band, and some of that early stuff is really just like straight up guitar. It's a guitar record where Tedeschi Trucks still is guitar oriented, but it's definitely more of like the songwriting thing and a band thing, which is great. But they've matured, right? But like hearing Derek raw when he was 19, coming off, a year straight of touring with the Allman Brothers because Dickie Betts got kicked out of the band, and you're 19 and you replaced Dickie Betts, and like it's pretty fun to listen to that stuff too. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So,
Dude, 19
yeah,
seems to be
check
the
it out.
magic number. That's when Zach got the Aussie gig.
Well, if 19's the magic number,
What happened to us?
I think we missed it.
I don't know what I was doing at 19. Hey, I toured Japan at 19, so I'm pretty proud of 19. Thank you.
What did I do at 19? I don't know. I don't remember 19. I think I was dating someone I shouldn't have been dating and not doing what I should have been doing, like playing music. I wasn't focused on all of that. So
It's okay, man. It's okay. You are here now, and that's
We're
all
here
that matters.
for you.
I wanna talk highly about you real quick, Will. Are you familiar with the song "Please Walk Slow"?
Yeah.
Dude, all right. I have a confession. Something that generally, up until I heard you do it, generally solos on acoustic, I'm not super crazy about. But when you started soloing on the acoustic, I was like, dude, what? I loved your acoustic playing on that song, man.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, that tune was actually cut live and then we redid some vocals.
Wow.
But it was me playing with Brandon Temple and Yogi at a studio, I guess in 2014 or something.
Those guys
And,
are amazing.
Yeah, they are. And so at the end of the session, we kind of got done, you know, and they had played everything I wanted to play, but we still had time. And I mean, I paid them well for that. I did a Kickstarter so everyone could get paid and try and do it right. And so at the end, Jeff Plankenhorn's like, well, let's try that Please Walk Slow song. We don't need a click. It's just acoustic. Let's see what happens. And I think because we just played a whole album together, we were kind of finally vibing. And yeah, you know, like I guess when I write or play like some of that, it's kind of my old Austin roots, that soulful bluesy stuff, and kind of my voice. Since I'm never really happy with my voice anyway, you know, who is, but I feel like I sing that stuff more comfortably than if I try to sing some other stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So that just felt it felt really good to do, and it's just really natural. But thank you. Yeah, I'll take it, man. You know.
Well, I thought it was great, and then also the one I wrote down, this has a good feel. Live Another Day, and this is all the Knaak Attack stuff. So, and I love the name, so I had to give it a little listening to, and then finally, I wanted to end on this because well, this podcast was started on 80s metal. That was kind of our reason for starting it.
Theory, Def Leppard.
Def Leppard in particular is why we started this. But I read somewhere that you played with or had something to do with Johnny Solinger.
Yeah, man. So he basically, I was working for Bill Ham, who was producing his country artist Angela Peterson. This bass player in that band had a bunch of friends on the Dallas metal scene. Dime used to actually like call him when they'd be off the road and be like, "Hey man, we're gonna go to Trees tonight and raid this band's gig. No Olive Vulgar Display of Power by tonight." And he'd show up and play bass because he wasn't gonna take Rex with him.
Wow.
But so he knew a bunch of people up there. Solinger was in the Dallas metal scene for a while, so Chris got a call saying, "Hey, Solinger's looking for something to do in Texas and kind of do like a heavy Southern rock thing meets." It's I don't know. It's kind of country, but not really, you know.
So it wasn't 80s metal.
It wasn't 80s metal.
Okay.
We did a Skid Row cover in there during the set, you know, so that was fun.
Which one?
Yeah. 18 in Life.
I mean,
So
that's a great one to cover. Did y'all do like
how are you not gonna do it?
Did you do a Southern twang on it?
A little bit, but it was no, not really. And how it was, it just didn't sound as polished, maybe.
Right on. Cool, man. Well, I was just curious.
Always kept going. Always. That's
So
all the time.
I didn't know you played with Jeff Plankenhorn.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dude, Jeff has been a songwriting mentor to me for the last like year or so, and actually my most recent or my single that I'm going to be releasing soon is a co-write between him and I. And dude, I love that guy. Like
He's great, man, and he plays all like the dobro stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But
talk
has his
about a
own
mean
guitar.
slide player.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Great
that's
writer.
cool. I'm gonna have to go check out that. Was he on the whole thing with you, or?
Jeff was only on some of the tunes, but he produced it. So it's called The Only Open Road. Yeah, it's a solo record I did in 2014. I think it's on
Nice.
Spotify or whatever. But yeah.
That's wow. I'm gonna have to go listen to that. So.
Well, cool. It looks like Zach's got the guitar.
Oh, well, no,
Trying to cut us off.
I'm not cutting anyone off. Robin
Yeah,
or
that's-
TJ, was there anything else? I'm the note taker. I'm the one who's always prepared.
Whoa.
With notes. I'm prepared with
Okay.
notes. So no, Robin or TJ, if there's anything else you wanted to add, please feel free.
No,
I was just-
you've already cut us off. You have the guitar up, so you know.
Yeah. Whatever.
Where do you get off? Golly. TJ?
Actually, also stuff that I had my notes to the side on came up naturally, or Robin brought it up, or Will brought it up himself. I guess my only question is that Target cherry lime bubbly you've been drinking throughout the show?
Yeah, it is.
Stuff's so good, so good.
Of course,
to
that's
beat,
what
man.
you would notice.
Pay attention to your surroundings.
Good stuff,
Wow.
man.
Well, Will, brother, thank you so much for being here, man. I want to keep following you on your journey and get you on again in the future and see what you're up to then. This has been a blast for me. I know. I hope everyone else watching has had a great time. Please go follow Will. Follow Blue October. So if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button on YouTube. Everyone have an amazing week. God bless you all. TJ.
Will, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Keep doing you and keep shredding and subscribe to Will, to us, to Blue October. Follow them. Whether it's their new stuff, old stuff, or all of it, because it rocks all around, especially that new stuff I've heard from you, Will. So, love y'all. Thank you, guys. Over to you, Robin.
Yeah, if you guys haven't tuned into any of the Blue October stuff, I tuned into one of y'all's live shows, and the production that y'all put on, the show y'all put on, I mean, all of y'all are you guys just click as a band so well. It's so much fun to watch you, because I remember playing with you at the Celebrity Softball Jam, and then seeing you with Wade, and now I've learned that you did a whole bunch of more stuff around Austin than I was aware of, and so now to see you with Blue October, it's been super fun to kind of watch your journey from this far seat looking in. So it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, just to reiterate what they all said, go follow all of us, especially follow Will and follow Blue October and keep up with those guys. And yes, for those of you wondering, this is a fully automatic Nerf gun. It's just not in my corner tonight.
Oh man.
I'm not gonna be able to carry that on an airplane. So, yeah, I guess
commitment, bro.
Yeah, Zach. Also, when I say class dismissed, don't forget to click the button to transfer over to the ending scene. So,
one more thing for you, Will. A single I heard that popped up. The Girl Who Stole My Heart. Is that coming out, or is that just a straight single? Because I didn't see it on the new album, or the newest album.
It's just a straight single. It's something it was a Christmas song, basically.
Yeah, that's what I was like, this could be on my Christmas list next year.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, something Justin wanted to do over COVID, so.
Nice. Well, I was kind of curious, but yeah, I forgot about that one. Thank you, sir. Anyways, that's my ending.
No, right on, dude. Well, I have to say, pleasure to be with you guys, and go Vikings. Come on, man.
Go Vikings, baby.
Valhalla.
All right, guys. I guess that's class dismissed.
Woo! 1 second. I gotta click the button. 1 second. Here we go.
How are you gonna click the button and play guitar?
Okay, here we go. Closing scene, and hey, say it one more time, Robin.
Class dismissed.
Wait, it didn't work. Yeah, it did. Is this thing still on?
You're in control of it, Zach.
Oh, yeah. Wait.